Welcome everybody to the City Council meeting for Monday, September 25th, 2023. I'm Connie Biskins. I'm filling in for the mayor, who is right now in Poland with a group of our sister city people. They're going to be celebrating a World War II ceremony there. So I'm filling in. I haven't done this for a few years, so please be patient with me. I'm sure people will remind me if I miss something. So thank you. First off, we need to take attendance or roll call.
Yes. Councilmember Spriggs.
Here.
Councilmember Jacobs.
Here.
Councilmember James.
Here.
Council President Biskins.
Here. Next, I will read the mission statement. Columbia Heights is a vibrant, healthy, and connected city. We are here to actively support the community, deliver equitable services, build and strengthen connections, improve upon our past, and uphold our success. We strive to be better and ensure Columbia Heights is a great place for everyone today and in the future. Now, if you're able, please stand with me to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, we have approval of the agenda. Does anyone here on the council need to make any additions or deletions?
No.
Oh. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, first motion by Councilmember Jacobs, second motion by Councilmember James. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, next thing we have proclamations, recognition of library volunteers. Renee, our library director, will come up and introduce our volunteers, and we have quite the crowd here today.
Their legacy continues today. People volunteer for many reasons. For some, volunteering provides a first work experience or fulfills a graduation requirement. Others are retired or between jobs and are looking for ways to give back to their community, try out a new vocation, or simply get out of the house. All of our volunteers want to make a difference in the lives of others and make our community a better place. The generosity of the people before you tonight and those who couldn't be with us truly makes a difference in the quality of our library and our city. As of August 2023, library volunteers have worked 330 hours. Our adult volunteers, Paul Cram and Pat Tollefson, mentor adults learning to read and speak English by facilitating weekly conversation circles. Veronica Johnson, Kay Reiners, Betty Robbins, Kathy Super, and Bob Odden of the Friends of the Library provide hospitality at adult author programs and a very popular puzzle contest. And they create dioramas in the library display case. Christina Pagels and Dan Harris shelf read, which means they make sure that books and other materials are where they're supposed to be, so that Kathy Fossum can find and pull those books to fulfill customer requests. In addition, Keith Pearson and his colleagues Brian, Carl, and Jim run bike fix-it clinics so that people can get back on the road.
And I had the pleasure of supervising 6 teen volunteers this summer, and they volunteered their time and talents all summer long. Teen volunteers are assigned a wide variety of tasks, from preparing youth materials for programs, pulling books for holds, creating book displays, checking in youth and families at programs, all things that we couldn't do during our busiest season without our teen volunteers. They definitely keep the youth area engaging, tidy, and welcoming for all the families of Columbia Heights. So with us tonight, we had Lulu Sadrant, who helped pull books and fill customer requests, shelved holds, created book displays, and prepared materials for story time. Not with us this evening are Finn Donovan, Natasha Novitsky, Cadence Rubak, Ilham Ibrahim, and Salat Shimeles. So thank you for your service this summer.
On behalf of the entire library staff, we are so grateful to have all of our volunteers and delighted that we get to work with them each week. We ask the council to please recognize and applaud the generous contribution of our library volunteers.
We want to thank our volunteers who make our library a great place to be. Thank you so much for taking the time to volunteer at our library. Do we want a picture? The council is going to step up for a minute to do a picture with the volunteers, so please give us a moment.
Three, two, one.
Next, we have a proclamation for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Domestic Violence Awareness Month, October 2023. Whereas domestic violence perpetrators intentionally use a pattern of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and/or economic coercion and abuse to control their intimate partners, violating their dignity, security, and both psychological and physical well-being. And whereas domestic violence perpetrators cause significant and long-lasting trauma to countless individuals and families. And whereas when children are involved, domestic violence perpetrators' choices to be violent and abusive are parenting choices that are often have devastating and far-reaching adverse impacts on the safety and well-being of children and their non-offending parents. And whereas survivors of domestic violence are present in every Minnesota community, regardless of sexual orientation, race, religion, ability, age, and gender identity. And whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month provides an important opportunity to learn more about domestic violence and to demonstrate support for the numerous organizations and individuals who engage in advocacy, provide services, and offer assistance to victims. And whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month is an opportunity to recognize the strength and courage of those currently surviving abuse, as well as to honor those who were murdered or harmed at the hands of their current or former partners. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Connie Biskins, Council President of Columbia Heights, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2023 to be Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the City of Columbia Heights, County of Anoka, State of Minnesota, USA. Thank you. Not tonight. I don't, oh, is there a recipient? I'm sorry, I wasn't aware of that. We have a recipient for our proclamation. I will bring it out to you.
It's okay. I hope just if you, okay.
All right. First, my name is Connie Moore, and I'm the Executive Director at Alexandra House. And I just want to thank Mayor Marquez Simila and council members for this critical recognition of October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month and for your support of our mission. Your dedication to illuminating public spaces in purple during this month sends a powerful message of solidarity. We are incredibly grateful for your leadership on this issue and your commitment to ending violence in our communities. It is disheartening that domestic violence is still such a prevalent issue. In the last decade, more than 250 Minnesotans have been lost to domestic violence. Those are the known ones. In 2022, there were 26 domestic-related homicides in Minnesota. And tragically, 24 lives have already been lost to domestic violence this year. In Columbia Heights in 2022, Alexandra House provided 3,560 services to 82 individual residents in Columbia Heights. We received 148 crisis calls and provided emergency shelter to 12 households. So far in 2023, we've provided 1,124 services to 59 individuals, and we've received 98 crisis calls and provided emergency shelter to 7 households. The statistics are a stark reminder of the urgent need for action, and the responsibility to combat domestic and sexual violence lies with each and every one of us. We must unite to create a community that stands against violence, a community that listens and responds to the needs of our neighbors. And tonight, I want to ask, I'm going to call to action on behalf of Alexandra House to join us in building a violence-free future by attending our Hope Fest event on September 30th. It's our lead-in to Domestic Violence Awareness Month. You can also make a statement by displaying a domestic violence awareness sign in your yard or even a window, illuminating your homes in purple, and engaging in conversations about domestic and sexual violence. And then join us in wearing purple on hashtag Purple Thursday, which is October 19th, and that shows your commitment to ending violence. Now, I know I said a lot there, but there's information on our website about Hope Fest and then Purple, our Domestic Violence Awareness Month activities and Purple Thursday. So you can go to our website at www.alexandrahouse.org and get more information on that. And finally, just together, we can raise awareness about domestic violence and pave the way for a safer and more compassionate community. So thank you for having me here tonight and for the Domestic Violence Proclamation. Thanks.
I want to thank you for your services that you provide our county and our city. Thank you very much. Next on is our consent agenda. Is there anyone that would like to pull anything from our consent agenda? I would like to pull number 5, please. Okay. First, we move to approve the consent, and then you read it, Kevin?
That works.
Okay. Moved, excuse me,
Council
Councilmember James.
President Biskins, I do have a question for discussion. Sometimes we do the questions for discussions now or after? Yeah.
Madam President, if you want to pull the item, and then we can discuss it right at the end.
Oh,
Okay,
I just
what-
have a question about
what
one of the
item?
items.
We can pull
A
it.
question about one of the bills on number 10.
Okay, so we'll pull 5 and 10.
Thanks.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, first motion by Councilmember Jacobs, second motion by Councilmember Spriggs. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, Kevin, do we want to discuss first, or are you going to read first?
Madam President and members of the council, I'll go through each of the items, and at the end, we can go through the discussion.
Thank you.
Okay. So for your approval, you have 10 items on the consent agenda, and items 5 and 10 have been removed for discussion. The first of these is the approval of the minutes of your September 11th regular City Council meeting. The next is the minutes from the September 13th City Council Corner meeting minutes. The next of these is the August 8th Sustainability Commission meeting minutes. Item number 4 is to approve the application from the Columbia Heights Athletic Boosters to conduct off-site charitable gambling at Merchant Hall on October 15th. Item 5 has been pulled. Item 6 is the second reading of the CenterPoint Gas Franchise Agreement. Item number 7 is the rescission or ending of the single-family rental moratorium. Item 8 is the license agenda as presented. Item number 9 are the rental occupancy licenses for approval. And the last item has been pulled, and that's the review of the bills. Madam President?
Thank you. Number 5, which was pulled, is the award of professional services for engineering, design, and construction services for 2024 Safe Routes to the School, City Project 1807, and Columbia Heights has been awarded federal funding in 2020 through the Safe Routes to School program. And I thought it would be nice if staff could show us the map so the community can see where we'll be making improvements in our city.
Certainly, I'll go through these for you and for the community here. So as, Madam President, as you had indicated that we received grant funding to do this work in 2020, and the work is scheduled for 2024, so for next year. And what was before you tonight is for the consulting engineering services for both the design and construction administration. So the type of work that we're doing consists of new sidewalk and then either moving or adding in crosswalks along this route. And on the area that we're looking at here, the east-west is 49th Avenue, and right in the center of the screen is Central Avenue. So I'm going to work from the left of the screen or the west and work right for what all the improvements are. So one thing to be reminded of is that 49th Avenue is a county road. It's an Anoka County road. So any work on this does require Anoka County approval. So the first item that we're doing is right down on Madison Street is adding in a crosswalk to that existing sidewalk, a marked crosswalk on the east-west side at Madison Street. As you come over to Monroe Street, we're adding a brand new sidewalk on the east side of Monroe, and that goes from 49th Avenue to the south. And really what it goes down to, there is a parking lot for some apartments that are right there. So it really goes along this entire stretch to basically where we can end the sidewalk at the parking lot. In addition to that, there is, and it goes at the back of the school, there is a new sidewalk/trail that connects the rear of Columbia Academy down into the end of a street in Hilltop. One of the things I should point to is that this is a shared project between the City of Columbia Heights and the City of Hilltop. The next item is really, it's just west of Taco Bell on 49th Avenue, and that adds a crosswalk at Jackson, but then also adds in a new sidewalk along that residential property on the north side of 49th Avenue. Moving on the other side of Central Avenue, at Grand Avenue, where it meets 49th Avenue, is a new crosswalk. We have the same over at Fillmore Street, and that's a new crosswalk. And then at Fillmore Street, which is really the Fillmore Street east side, we're putting in new sidewalk. Well, we'll follow down where the cursor's going. At 47th Avenue, there is a new sidewalk going in really along the south side of the school at 47th Avenue. And that goes from Fillmore Street over to where an existing, really the east side of the tennis courts that are there, but where a walk that continues up into the school at that point. On the north side of the high school, and this is right at Fillmore Street also, we're adding walks in on both sides of Fillmore Street where the parking lot is to get kids, or to really get the users from the south side to the north side of those parking lot approaches there. And then the last improvement that we have is really moving the existing crosswalk from the east side of Johnson Street over to the west side. On the east side, it just really doesn't connect to much of anything there. At least on this position, it connects to existing sidewalk on both the south and trail on the north side. Madam President?
And where the blue dots are, that's where we'll be putting in concrete pedestrian ramps too, on all those corners?
Correct. Each one of those, wherever we put in a crosswalk, we do have to have ADA-approved ped ramps.
And it's always good. We have lots of those corners yet we have to do, so it's always great to see this many being placed in, plus the sidewalks. Super excited about replacing one, or is it the one on Monroe, that's going to be an added sidewalk? Yeah, that's a new one. And then the one behind the school, the high school, is a new one. So That's awesome. So thank you very much. Councilmember James, your question for item number 10?
Thank you. I'm also excited about the sidewalks. It's great. On the review of the bills, there is a item, it's on our packet, page 60, the top one. I just wanted to know what it's for. It's interesting. I normally don't call out specific line items, but I'm wondering it's for the Ethical Leaders in Action Development Plan Phase 4, $10,000.
I can. Looking now.
Thanks, no problem.
Joe, I can take that. That's a police related. So, Madam Mayor, members of the council, that's we've worked with Ethical Leaders in Action for the last several years now, and they continue to provide leadership training. And in this particular case, this is geared more towards our first line supervisors, our sergeants, to continue with their growth over the next year or so, into going into here in the fall of 23, and then also into 2024.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we need to go back to item 5, correct? Let me see. I'm lost here. Hold on. Okay, I need a motion for item number 5. Move to approve the proposal.
Motion to move the proposal for engineering, design, and construction services for 2024 Safe Routes to School, City Project 1807, with SRF Consulting for an estimated cost of $148,830 appropriated from Fund 430.6323.43050.1807.
Second.
Motion made by Councilmember Jacobs and seconded by Councilmember Springs. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? It's approved. Now we move to item number 10, review of bills. I need a motion.
Move that in accordance with the Minnesota statute 412.271 subdivision 8, the city council has reviewed the enclosed list to claims paid by check and by electronic funds transfer in the amount of $1,543,902.46.
Thank you. May I have a motion, second, please?
Second.
First motion made by Councilmember James, second by Councilmember Jacobs. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Nope. Okay, now we move on to public hearings. We have one on the agenda. This is the public's opportunity to speak regarding this matter. Speakers that are in person are asked to complete a speaker form and submit it to the city clerk. Speakers attending virtually should send a request to speak with this information to the moderator using the chat function and wait to be called on to speak. When speaking, virtual attendees should turn their camera on. Any comments made after the public hearing is closed will not be considered by the City Council and will not be included as part of the formal record for this matter, as the item will have been voted on and the item formally closed by the Council. So now we have item number 11, consideration of Resolution 2023-051, revocation of the license to operate rental units within the City of Columbia Heights against the rental property at 677, 679 43rd Avenue Northeast, for failure to meet the requirements of the residential maintenance codes, and I believe that's Assistant Fire Chief Dan O'Brien that will speak on this.
Yes, Madam President and members of the council, good evening. We're here to discuss the revocation of a rental license for a duplex property located at 677, 679 43rd Avenue, owned by David Glass of Glass Holdings, LLC. We have the property owner listed as residing in North Carolina, and the property is managed locally by Renters Warehouse. On August 3rd, a life safety violation was written up during the annual rental license renewal inspection. The licensing inspection itself was overdue almost a month, and a $150 late fee was assessed. The violation was for a missing smoke alarm in the common area stairwell. On September 5th, a reinspection was performed, and the life safety violation had not been corrected. A statement of cause and notice of public hearing was sent to the owner and tenants. September 14th, we were included in an email chain between the property owner and Jacob Koch of Renters Warehouse stating that the smoke alarm had been replaced by their vendor. The email included a photo of a smoke alarm on a ceiling. On September 15th, the next day, our inspectors attempted to perform the pre-council inspection but were unable to gain access because the property representative that met them on site did not have keys to the property. An additional $150 was assessed for this inspection. On September 20th, a second pre-council inspection was performed. The inspectors were able to get into the property and found that the smoke alarm violation had not, in fact, been corrected. A $150 inspection fee was assessed for this inspection as well. This morning, we received an email from the property management company with another photo showing a smoke alarm installation, but we have yet to visit the property to verify the installation. Which brings us to the license before you today for consideration. I see that we have Mr. Glass on Zoom via Zoom, so I'll turn the floor over to them if they wishes to speak.
Okay, this is a public hearing, so would we have him come up? Or
Mr. Glass is online via Zoom and would like to address the council.
okay, Mr. Glass, where did he go? I just saw him.
Can you guys hear me?
Hold on. He's on. He's available.
Is he he's having trouble with video?
No, but he's good.
Okay, so they can see him. I can't see him from my screen.
on it.
Okay. So, Mr. Glass, would you like to address the council, please?
Yes. Yes. Can you guys hear me? Hello. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, you can hear us, but we can't hear him.
I think I'm muted. I need to be unmuted.
I apologize for the mishap here. They're working on it.
Can you guys hear me?
We had a previous issue with the Zoom audio, and our vendor came to fix it, and I'm wondering if there's a continued issue with it. It was working at the last meeting.
We apologize, Mr. Glass. Are we not able to get? Could you call in, Mr. Glass?
Yes.
Okay. He said yes.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID, followed by pound. Enter your participant ID, followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound to continue. You are in the meeting now. There are 6 participants in the meeting. This meeting is being recorded. You are muted. You can mute or unmute yourself by pressing star 6. You have been added to the waiting room. You are unmuted.
Hi. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me?
We apologize, Mr. Glass, for the inconvenience here. Thank you. I'm glad you're able to call in. You have the floor. Yep.
Facilitate the inspection for me. I was aware that a smoke alarm needed to be installed in the common area. So I actually green lighted Renter's Warehouse on the work and paid just under $400 to have a vendor come out and install this fire alarm. Well, they installed the fire alarm with a hard wire, which isn't required, and in the wrong room. And so when your fire inspector came back out to validate that the alarm was installed in the common area, it was false. It was not correctly installed. And so I've just been made aware of this issue via an email from Renter's Warehouse at 4 p.m. Eastern this evening. So I have been trying my hardest to resolve this issue. I apologize about the inconvenience. It's challenging with the vendor I have in place, but I can assure you that the fire alarm is installed, so I'm told, and I will do everything in my capability to make sure that the work is done properly and that the duplex meets code. And just to be sure, I am actually flying to Minnesota on Monday, October 2nd, as my whole extended family is back there, and I can go to this property and validate that the alarm is there and that everything is okay.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Jacobs has a question.
Assistant Chief, I have a question. And Mr. Glass, I'm a little confused. Is the fire alarm, is the smoke alarm in the area that you said it need to be installed in, Chief?
We don't know. We have
You
not
don't
been
know.
back to inspect it.
And if I understand you, Mr. Glass, you're stating that the alarm is installed but not in the public area? It's in a different area?
There is now a new alarm that has been installed in the correct area. That's what I'm being told by my vendor. And I was sent a picture of it. Now it's just a picture of an alarm installed on a wall. So if I trust what they're saying, then yes, the issue is resolved at this point. But I have to go there to validate that they installed it in the correct room.
Well, actually, it's the inspection people who need to validate it.
Right.
Chief, when did this process begin?
October, I'm sorry, my bad. Where'd it go? August 3rd, it was the initial inspection. We were back there on the 5th of September for the reinspection. Weren't able to get in.
Okay.
So we tried, we were able to get in, wasn't done on the 5th, went back on the 15th, couldn't get in, back on the 20th, wasn't done. I'm guessing that was because it was in the wrong place. And then this morning is when we received the second email about of a photo of another smoke alert, but we have not.
Okay, so if I'm
inspected it
understanding the situation, it's approximately 6 to 7 weeks to put a smoke alarm in, and it hasn't been accomplished.
yet. Correct.
Thank you.
Anyone else have questions? Anyone from the audience which would like to speak? Again, this is an open hearing. Is there anyone in the audience or online that would like to speak?
There is not.
Okay, I have, I'd be willing, just because, they did put it in, but they put it in the wrong place. And now supposedly it's in the right place to table this until the next meeting, so that.
Madam President, I can't verify whether or not it was in the wrong place or not.
Right, so is anyone interested in tabling this till the next meeting so that our fire inspector could go in and?
Council
Councilmember
President.
James.
Thank you, Council President Biskins. I think we should close the public hearing, and then we can discuss as a council.
Okay.
That's my recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let me get back up here. I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Move to close the public hearing and waive the reading of Resolution 2023-051, there being ample copies available to the public.
Second?
We have a motion made by Councilmember James and a second by Councilmember Jacobs.
Pardon me, Councilmember Spriggs.
I'm sorry. Okay, first flub. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay. Now we have discussion for the council. What would we like to do here?
Council President,
Okay.
I would also be willing to table this agenda item. I take it very seriously when we remove people's housing from them, and I note that this property owner has paid for 3 re-inspections, and I think that's completely appropriate to pay for our time. I know that the $150 may not even cover it. So property owner, we're a small city and we don't have a lot of inspectors, and to be continually coming out to your property is costing our city a lot. I am also willing to table this motion so that it can get completed, knowing that they're paying vendors and Renters Warehouse, but I think that it will be done, so that's my thought.
Councilmember Spriggs?
I would just agree with Councilmember James that I think tabling the item at hand would be best. I think, although it has been inconvenience to our inspectors, I think that removing people from their housing over a smoke detector that is in the process of getting corrected is a little extreme, so I'd be in favor of tabling it for now.
Okay. Councilmember Jacobs?
I would be in favor of giving them a little bit more time, but I want to be very clear that a smoke detector is not a minor issue. This is a major issue for the safety of your tenants, and I hold the safety and well-being of the tenants above everything else, and I think I speak for the other council members as well. I want to be very clear that this is not something that we would normally do, and I would extend it to a date that the Assistant Chief says is appropriate, but no later than, what date did you, Mr. Glass, did you say you were going to be in town? October what?
I'll be in town October 2nd.
Okay.
Let's see, I'll be in town October 2nd through October 9th.
Then I would say whatever works best for the inspectors, but no later than October 2nd.
Council President, our next meeting is October 9th, so I move to table to that date.
Okay. Who would like to make the motion?
I move to table item number 11, consideration of the resolution 2023-051, revocation of the license to operate rental units within the city of Columbia Heights until October 9th.
Second.
The motion has been made by Councilmember James and seconded by Councilmember Spriggs. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The motion's been approved. Okay, and then we move on to,
Madam President?
yes.
Sorry, I'll just let Mr. Glass know that I will contact him tomorrow.
Okay. Can you hear that, Mr. Glass? Our Assistant Fire Chief, Dan O'Brien, will be contacting you tomorrow. Can you hear me? Okay, sorry. Our Fire Assistant Chief, Dan O'Brien, will be contacting you tomorrow to make arrangements.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. Thank you for taking the time to be here. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you, I
welcome.
appreciate it.
Okay, moving on. Item 12, Resolution 2023-48, adopting a proposed budget for the year 2024, setting the proposed city levy, approving the HRA levy, approving a tax rate increase, and establishing a budget hearing date for property taxes payable in 2024. And Joe Kloiber, our Finance Director, will be speaking on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the council. This Resolution 48 before you, it does two primary things. It establishes a maximum level of property taxes possible for 2024, and it provides a basis to certify to Anoka County that amount, break that down to the amount that will be listed for each individual property on the proposed notice of 2024 taxes that they will mail out to each property holder in November. This 2024 budget on the city website. This is a increase in the taxes levied by the city of about 8.5%. That corresponds to an increase in proposed operating costs of about slightly over 8.5%. Work session and in the city manager's proposed budget include, unfortunately, a area-wide decrease, not just for Columbia Heights, in the fiscal disparities subsidy, which taxes. And so the resulting net effect on local property owners will on average be close to 14%. Now that's a mathematical average. Depending on your property value changes, it could be well above or well below that on individual properties. From the operating budget that was discussed at the September work session, there is local government aid. Increased property tax levies for capital purposes, at least for 2024. The following the Anoka County's distribution of the proposed notice of potential property taxes for 2024, you as the City Council will convene a public hearing here on December 11th to make a final decision about the 2024 budget and tax levy. And as a public hearing, there'll certainly be time for people to comment after they've received their notice. And of course, we would encourage anyone interested. There are at least 2 more fairly lengthy budget work sessions where council will review with department heads details and more if need be, as well as, of course, members of the public can reach out to any of their council members and express their thoughts on the 2024 budget as well. With that, if you have any questions, I attempt to handle them.
Anyone have any questions for our finance director, Mr. Clover? No questions? Okay. On. Thank you, Joe. We'll need a motion to waive the reading.
Move to waive the reading of Resolution 2023-048, there being ample copies available to the public.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Spriggs and a second by Councilmember Jacobs. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any? Motion is approved. Second, motion to adopt resolution.
Move to adopt Resolution 2023-048, a resolution adopting a proposed budget for the year 2023, setting the proposed city levy, approving the HRA levy, approving a tax rate increase, and establishing a budget hearing date for property taxes payable in 2024 of December 11th, 2023 at approximately 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers.
Second.
Motion made by Councilmember Spriggs, seconded by Councilmember Jacobs. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, moving on. We have no ordinances and resolutions, no bid considerations, new business or reports. We now have come to our city council and administrative reports. Which council member would like to start?
I have a short one.
Okay.
Met with Chief Austin for further discussion regarding the SRO issue and our schools, and interim city manager Hanson, development director. I attended the Donuts with a Cop. A cool, dark morning made the coffee even facilitated 5 residents.
Thank you. Councilmember Spriggs?
Yeah, not a ton. Also attended our council corner meeting and then met with a few residents, otherwise been busy at the hospital.
Okay. Thank you. And Councilmember James?
Thank you. Attended the council corner, had a meeting with the chief on the SROs. I was able to attend, I think with Councilmember Jacobs too, the Recycling at Kiwanis celebration with the recycling center. They've been doing 40 years, and so they had a fantastic celebration. It is really making our city better for these volunteers to spend Saturdays collecting our recycling, and I was thankful to greet them. On Saturday, the 16th, also visited our park, Silverwood Park, which is bordering Columbia Heights, but part of our Silver Lake area. They had their 10th anniversary field trip organization, so that was fun to talk with the park program director there. I attended the police neighborhood watch meeting with the chief on the 21st. This is an opportunity for residents to call in to a quick 30-minute call to hear an update of what's happening with major incidences and hiring and questions for the chief. And so if you're not already a part of Neighborhood Watch, it's a really wonderful way to be in the know. Instead of just posting on Facebook, what's happening? You could find out directly from the source, so that's great. I was able to volunteer with the Columbia Heights Pride Festival at the kids' table, and we had a wonderful year, so congratulations to the Columbia Heights Pride, and then a second meeting with the chief. I have 3 upcoming things to share real quickly. One is there is a Buy Nothing event this Saturday at the First Lutheran Church. This is a group that's in Columbia Heights that shares items. It's like a free sale, and it's from 10 to 1 at First Lutheran. Best wishes to the Columbia Heights schools for homecoming this Friday night. I'll be there. And then on October 7th, we are hosting a Central Avenue cleanup with Heights Next. And so I encourage all community members to meet at the library parking lot at 9 a.m. for some Heights Bakery donuts and community service. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may correct, Councilmember
Thank you, yes.
James, I can't keep that button lit. It's either red or green, and it's never going to work. I was at the Kiwanis event as a Kiwanis member and volunteer, not as a council member, and I just wanted to clarify that because it was supposed to be non-political.
Thank you for volunteering.
Yep.
Thank you. I also attended or met with our chief of police regarding the SRO program. I wasn't able to attend the 40th anniversary of the Kiwanis, but I did the week before stop in and wish them a happy 40th. I also attended the Sustainability Commission as the liaison, and the commission is really raring to go. They are in the process of writing a letter to MnDOT regarding their Central Avenue concerns, and would like to know if the council would like to sign on with them once we reviewed the letter. That's something we can maybe talk about it quickly at the work session. Let's see. I continue to volunteer at the Blooming Sunshine Garden and the Beautification Committee that I water the flower pots at Mersion Hall, and I'm so thankful for the rain. My gauge now shows approximately 2 10/100ths of an inch since Saturday. So very, very thankful for the rain. We so desperately need it. I also attended the MWO board meeting. I attended the Columbia Heights High School boys soccer game, and we won. It's very exciting. It was really cool to hang out and do something different in the city. They have another game Tuesday night. That's a home game if folks are interested in attending. And I also volunteered at the Pride Festival at the Mayor's Monarch table. We had great attendance, lots of folks showing up, and we didn't get rained on. The rain showed up just as I went home to work in the yard. So anyway, it was a great week. So thanks, everybody. So now we move on to the city manager's report.
Thank you, Madam President and members of the council. I just have a few things for you tonight. Projects, as much as we need this rain, our 2 projects, 37th Avenue and 53rd Avenue, will have some delays, and we don't need those delays on either project because we're already far behind on those. But it'll take us a few days to get dried out to continue working on each of those projects. We also have commission and boards open. So we have applications for the EDA for the Youth Commission, And those are closing this Friday. You can go online to get the application material if any community member, citizen is interested in applying for those. And then we also need Adopt a Tree volunteers still to help with watering for some of our newly planted trees. And that application too, if you just want to apply to help us out with some of our tree watering, is available online also. So,
Thank you.
Council President.
I think I forgot to mention the Sustainability Commission was going to try to have a table at the Pride Festival for Adopt a Tree, and they're hopefully going to have some information for folks
yes.
at the cleanup on October 7th for folks to help adopt a tree. It's very important for the first couple of years that the trees are watered so we can keep them from dying from the drought that we've experienced in the last couple of years. So, okay, we're done with that part. Now we move to the community forum. Is the public's opportunity to address the council regarding any matter that has not had a public hearing earlier in the meeting. Speakers that are in person are asked to complete a speaker form and submit it to the city clerk. Once called to the podium, the speaker should state their name and connection to Columbia Heights. Speakers attending virtually should send a request to speak as well as their address and connection to Columbia Heights to the moderator using the chat function and wait to be called on to speak. When speaking, virtual attendees should turn their camera on, please. All speakers should limit their comments to 5 minutes. Personal attacks, threats, or use of profanity and other disrespectful comments are prohibited. The City Council will listen to the public comments, ask clarifying questions, and if needed, request staff to follow up or direct the matter to be added to an upcoming agenda. Generally, the City Council will not take official action on items raised at the community forum at the meeting on which they are raised. Sarah, do we have anyone that would like to speak before the council?
So Mr. Morrell, Dwayne Morrell would like to address the council.
Okay.
Please note that there was some issues with Zoom going on, so
Okay.
that has been discontinued at this time.
Okay, thank you. We apologize
Did that
if
affect
anyone's...
me?
Pardon me?
Did that affect my comments?
No, you're not on Zoom, you're here.
Oh, okay.
I do it. Go ahead.
The
I'm
sound doesn't carry very well.
sorry.
Unless you're into the
I'm
mic.
speaking as loud as I can right now without
No,
shouting.
you're
Julie.
just fine. I couldn't hear her.
Okay, sorry.
I've got a question on, there was a situation that was raised last week or since the last meeting, and Kevin and Aaron are in a dual role capacity.
No,
Aren't they?
Kevin's interim
public-
city manager and Aaron is the assistant city manager.
They're interim?
Kevin's interim and Aaron is assistant city manager.
Okay, and so they've moved out of their other capacities?
Kevin?
Public Works and Community Development?
Go ahead.
To clarify, Aaron is still the Director of Development, and he has a second responsibility as the Assistant City Manager. Those are both permanent positions for him. Kevin Hansen is the interim city manager, and we don't know what the status of that will be until after the search is completed.
How about Public Works Director?
He has temporarily vacated the Public Works position, and there is Dave?
Yeah, Council President and members of the council, I'm sorry, I had to step out for just a minute. So the Public Works Director, the interim, is the Street and Park Superintendent. His name is David Cullen. And then the City Engineer is the Assistant City Engineer interim, and that is Saman Khan.
Okay, very good. Is there any extra compensation for the dual role? I guess Aaron is the one who has the dual role because he's still EDA or EDD and Assistant City Manager. Is that correct?
Correct.
Is there extra compensation for the dual roles? And if so, how much?
Mayor, members of the council, Council President and members of the council. So for the change in position, so my compensation was changed for the interim city manager. And then when Aaron was assigned for the assistant city manager, he fell into a different category in terms of the compensation that all division directors get paid for. And I don't know what that is offhand.
Okay, very good. I've got one other issue that carries over from a previous meeting, and was touched on tonight by the finance director. And I'm not sure I understand how the city has $780,000 for 2 properties on Central with no development projects in mind. And then we have to have a levy increase of so many percent, but we seem to have money for these special projects. I can list them for a couple hours, and then we have continual increases in the levy. It's like cost plus. When do we have the levies go down?
Interim City Manager Kevin Hansen.
Thank you, Council President and members of the council. So the funding for the acquisition of properties along Central fit and are in line with a prior council goal of acquiring the residential properties and removing them for a future redevelopment, but getting the residential, single-family residential off of Central Avenue. And that's been a long-established goal. It's been over a number of years. The funding for that is not the general tax or the ad valorem tax. That is funded from the tax that is levied from one of 2 sources, and it's either through the EDA tax or an Anoka County tax, but it's not through the general or ad valorem tax. So it's funded from a different source of community funds.
Right. I'm proposing that you offer the property to a developer who does the tear down and build up whatever issue he has got. Why does the city get ahead of the retail market, apparently, and then go through the process of tearing it down? And then you end up with a vacant lot that sooner or later may go to a developer. There's no return on the investment. How do we justify that? It seems a waste of money.
Madam President, I'd like to remind you that during the forum, we only ask clarifying questions, but so that staff has time to research the questions being posed so that they have an adequate and more factual answer for you.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
For the reminder, Councilmember Jacobs.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jack Israelson would like to address the council.
Okay.
Good evening, members of the council and Madam Council President. I'm Jack. I'm a resident of Columbia Heights, and I recently heard about the lawsuit that was filed against the city on Thursday. Before I say anything, I'm just know that y'all are not allowed to really talk about this. So yeah. And then one thing that I heard, I might be mistaken here, but one thing I heard from like one of the news publishers was that the aforementioned council member said that she only represents the people who voted for her. I gotta say that if you're a council member or anybody holding public office, you gotta represent everybody in the city or everybody that's in your district or ward or whatever, not just the specific people you voted for. And if you're just not going to do that, I just recommend you don't continue running for council. So thank you for your time.
Jack, if I can clarify that.
Yeah.
What was said was that if the voters who voted me into office choose to vote me out, I would respect that. I've never said that I only represent those voters that voted for me. I have always maintained that I represent all of the voters in the city. But I thank you for bringing that forward.
Okay, I was mistaken then.
That's okay.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would wish to speak to the council at this time?
I don't
Anyone
believe so.
online? Okay, one more time. Anyone here would like to address the council during the public forum? Okay, hearing none. I look for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
First motion by Councilmember James, second by Councilmember Jacobs. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? And the council, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.